Horror movie monsters, I could easily survive.
Have you ever watched a horror movie and been like, I could have easily survived that? Well, my
100%.
survival strategy for most horror movies is the same strategy I would use for social situations. Just don't go. Someone invites you to a cabin in the woods, don't go.
My point
Someone
exactly.
wants to explore an abandoned asylum,
Don't
go.
go.
A girl you like is at a party, don't go.
My nigga, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know about that one, bro. That's the one that might get me out of here.
This has kept me alive in real life, and it would keep me alive in basically every single horror movie. And I can prove it. I went through a bunch of different horror movies, including one literally about a tire. Yes, a rubber tire that can explode people's heads. And I figured out exactly how to survive each one. In most of them, it's actually quite simple. But there's one horror movie we're going to talk about where it's actually difficult to survive. One where I watched the movie 30 times looking for an exit strategy, and there isn't one. I'm gonna save that one for last because I need to feel smart for a little bit before I feel helpless. All right, let's start with the tire. There's a 2010 movie called Rubber where a car tire wakes up in the desert, discovers it has psychic powers as most car tires do, and starts making people's heads explode. That's the premise. That's the whole movie. The tire's name is Robert, by the way, if you're gonna be kind enough to ask.
Oh,
Why?
hey,
Well, because of
Robert.
course this movie names the tire Robert. He rolls around the California desert, learns to vibrate very hard, and uses that vibration to pop skulls like grapes. He also falls in love with a French tourist because apparently this movie wasn't weird enough already. My survival advice for this is so simple, I'm almost embarrassed. Robert the tire moves at maybe 4 miles per hour.
who's
He
the
rolls
director for
like a
this?
tire on dirt. The main character in this movie dies because she will not stop looking at him. She checks into motels in the same desert where he's hunting. Yes, the tire hunts. Parks her car to watch him from a distance and keeps letting curiosity win over the obvious choice of just leave. Get in your car, drive to Nevada, problem solved. But the thing that actually got me about this stupid movie is that the tire's real power isn't psychic. It's that people can't stop watching. Every victim in this film dies because they stayed to see what would happen next. They saw a tire rolling towards them and thought, huh, that's weird. Instead of thinking I should leave immediately. Curiosity killed them, not the tire. The tire was just the excuse. So my survival advice is when something impossible is
not getting
happening,
close.
don't stick around to understand it. Just go. Be boring. Live. Okay, but at least a tire
I
has
see it
psychic
coming at me,
powers.
I'm not
There's
going
something
to it.
supernatural going on. Well, the next movie's villain is literally just a pastry. And I'm
What
starting
are
to take
these,
this
bro?
personally. This is insulting. This movie makes me so mad. Attack of the Killer Donuts is a 2016 movie. A mad scientist's serum falls into a donut shop fryer, and every donut cooked in that oil comes alive, with little teeth around the hole, biting people to death. That is the horror movie. That is what I am supposed to be scared of. Pastries with teeth, rolling
Alright,
around
bro,
a
I
small
guess.
town, killing people who apparently forgot that they have feet. The survival advice here is so obvious, I feel like I'm being pranked right now. Don't eat food that is moving and has teeth, dummy. Don't eat food from a shop where people are screaming. If a donut is somehow driving a police car towards you, which happens in this movie, by the way, maybe ask yourself what fucking horrible choices did you make in your life to get here? But the part that actually bothers me is this. The mad scientist uncle who caused this whole mess has stuff that stops the donuts. He had it the entire time. He's been sitting in his basement with the cure while the whole town gets eaten by a breakfast food, and nobody thinks to call him until
This
40
stupid
minutes into the
motherfucker.
movie. Dozens of people die to something that you could have defeated with a rolled up newspaper. This movie. Dozens of people die to something that you could have defeated with a rolled up newspaper. The solution existed before the problem got bad. Everyone was just too panicked or stupid to use it. And honestly, that's the scariest part of this whole film. Not the donuts, but the fact that everyone in it is a moron. All right, I need something that can actually kill me or I'm gonna lose my mind. Let's talk about a whale. A very angry whale that spent years watching humans torture it. This one makes me want to scream.
I don't
and
see me
not
dying
because of the
from a
whale.
killer
Killer
whale.
Whale is a 2026
possible.
movie about an orca named Sito who spends years in a knockoff SeaWorld getting abused, watching her calf die and learning to hate every human she ever saw. She kills a handler, so they move her to a remote lagoon. And the main characters who watched her kill someone the day before decide to go jet skiing swimming in that lagoon. The next day, like the literal next day, they know there's a revenge whale in the water. They literally watched what she did to the last guy, and their idea is, let's go swimming. Like, I don't have survival advice for this. I have a question. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Why are you going jet skiing with a killer whale? The whole movie is them getting picked off one by one in a lagoon that they chose to enter. And I'm supposed to feel tension, but all I really feel is confusion. The whale isn't even the villain here. She's just doing whale stuff in her new home. Also, like, the humans totally tortured her. So maybe you had it coming. I don't know. Literally, the humans also like drove to her house and jumped in her pool. Just leave the whale alone. The survivor makes it out by using herself as a decoy while calling for help on a waterproof phone. A waterproof phone case. Yes, something you can get for $10 at any airport gift shop. It would have solved this entire movie in the first 5 minutes if anyone had protected their phone before swimming with something that wanted them dead. Sito isn't evil. Just like me, she's traumatized. The movie wants you to feel for her, and you know, I kinda do, but that sympathy doesn't really change my advice. Stay out of the water. Angry whales aren't really gonna negotiate with you. Look, animals are survivable. Just don't go where the angry animal lives. What happens when the threat isn't something you can see? What if you accidentally curse the person you love most? This is the movie that made me realize my whole personality might just be the survival strategy. Obsession is a 2025 horror film about a guy named Bear who has a crush on his childhood friend Nikki. He's too scared to tell her how she feels, so instead of just talking to her like a normal person, he buys a magic wish thing from some spooky voodoo shop. It's a little twig in a box called the One Wish Willow, and he wishes for Nikki to love him more than anyone else in the whole world.
I ain't gonna lie. JoJo back then would have 100% bought one of those shits. Made the wishes. Got that motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie, bro. What? Now I don't need to, of course. Look at me. Feel me? But I would have overly been screwed if I got my hand on one of these.
The wish works, and it's a nightmare. The real Nikki basically gets erased. Something takes over her body and becomes obsessed with Bear in the most violent way possible. She stops eating and sleeping. She waits outside his door for hours. She refuses to leave. When Bear talks to another woman, the thing wearing Nikki's face murders her. His best friend tries to help. It shoots him in the head. Whatever took over will destroy anything that gets between them. And the worst part is, the only way to break the curse is for Bear to die. He made the wish, so his life is the anchor. As long as he's alive, Nikki stays trapped. You want to know why I would survive this movie?
I'm not doing
Because women scare me, and I wouldn't have the courage to talk to one in the first place.
I told you he was gay.
The next horror movie we're going to talk about is literally just some dude in a bunny costume with a chainsaw, which is somehow worse than Obsession. This is where I stop laughing. Bunny Man is a 2011 slasher about a group of friends who get harassed on a rural road by a truck driven by a massive guy in a dirty rabbit costume. He runs them off the road, kills one of them in the crash, and then the survivors have to walk through the middle of nowhere looking for help. They find some, and that's the problem. The locals seem friendly. They offer directions. They point the group towards a cabin where they can rest and wait for help. And the whole time, these friendly strangers are feeding them directly to the Bunny Man because the locals are in on it. Dun dun dun! The Cannibal family operation runs on trust, and they need victims to believe that people in crisis help each other, because that belief is what gets you into the cabin. The survival advice here is not carry scissors or some pointy object, even though scissors do save someone at the end. The real advice is darker than that. Don't trust people. Don't trust them. Just don't do it. Don't let people inside. They will kill you in a bunny costume and a chainsaw.
For this movie, I'm not gonna lie. If I were to get in a crash and a fucking killer bunny was on the loose and I'm in the woods, bro, it's not like I'm not gonna ask people for directions if I don't know where the fuck to go. And I'm not expecting these people to lead me to this damn bunny and get me put off the fucking map. So I'm not gonna lie, this horror movie, I might be grits.
I can promise you that. Chupacabra survival advice? Don't trust anybody. I'm sure your life will turn out great if you follow that. So far, every movie we talked about has had an exit. A door that you could walk through, a car you could drive, or a choice that you could make differently. Well, this one doesn't. Grave Encounters is a 2011 found footage movie about a ghost hunting TV crew who fakes evidence for ratings. They're skeptics. They hire actors to play psychics, pay locals to tell scary stories, and treat the whole thing like a joke. For one episode, they get permission to spend the night in an abandoned mental hospital.
I ain't gonna lie, this movie seems
before. It's got a
interesting.
nasty history. Patients who are tortured, a doctor who practiced black magic, the whole deal. And because they're making television, they ask the caretaker to chain the doors from the outside. Yes,
Ah,
they wanted to be locked in for content, when they literally probably
For
could have faked
content.
this even easier. The hospital turns out to be genuinely haunted, newsflash, and not in some Casper the spooky
y'all locked
fucking
inside,
ghost sort
like
of
some
fun way.
goofies.
The doors they came in now lead to more hallways. The windows show places that don't exist. Time breaks. Night never ends. Food rots in what feels like hours, and the crew starts disappearing one by one like a game of Cursed Among Us. My advice here is pretty damn grim. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. You know, one, have an outside contact with some sort of phone who will call the cops if you miss a check-in, like my mother, who I call every single hour to tell her I'm okay. Or don't be an idiot
Literally
and never
pushing
seal
30.
yourself anywhere you can't unseal. Map everything the second you arrive if you're going into spooky shitland. Because once this building decides to change, your memory is all you got. But honestly, once you're inside and the building wants to keep you, there's
already
no
haunted,
winning.
bro.
There's just death. The only character who does escape does it by getting his brain cut open. The ghost of the doctor performs surgery on him, and then, only him, the building lets him walk out. He's smiling, and he says he feels better now. But if you watch the sequel, which you shouldn't, the sequel's very, very bad. I watched it recently, and I was very let down. You find out that he actually didn't get out. He just started eating rats. Let's no clip to the back rooms. Why not? Look, I've been pretty confident up to this point, maybe a little too confident. There is a movie that
not
made me
surviving
wonder if
Backrooms.
confidence was the problem all along. The Backrooms is a 2026 movie based on an internet legend, a place that you can fall into by accident. Infinite yellow hallways, buzzing lights, Hatsune Miku, and wet carpet that smells like something died in it decades ago. Or, you know, it's Alabama. You don't choose to go there. You just clip through reality wrong, and suddenly you're somewhere that shouldn't exist. But the Backrooms doesn't just trap you, it reads you. The main character finds a way in through his furniture store and keeps going back in, because he's the kind of guy who can't leave a mystery alone. He brings his employees with him. They die in a minute.
this is so not the black dude. Not the black dude. You're supposed to be the last one dead and the first one out of there, nigga.
Eventually, he meets what the Backrooms made for him. A giant, twisted version of himself wearing his own work mascot costume, built out of every bit of rage and shame and darkness he spent his whole life pretending wasn't there. Because it turns out ignoring all your mental health problems does not lead to a better life. It creates a creepy pirate murder man that chases you through Alabama. My survival advice here is not about therapy. You don't have time to work through decades of trauma while something's hunting you through endless hallways. This is about defense, keeping your head calm in the moment so the thing chasing you doesn't get stronger. Panic feeds it, fear feeds it. Every dark thought you can control becomes something it can use. So the advice here is simple but not easy. Learn to not be a little bitch about your emotions, or else you're gonna end up somewhere that turns that fear into
I
a
ain't gonna lie,
predator.
who is he
So yeah,
talking
meditation
to?
suddenly sounds a lot less stupid now,
If anyone's
buddy.
the-
All right, let's
the
not talk
bitch
about
here,
witches.
yeah.
I don't know really how to joke about this movie. I've been trying for 10 minutes and nothing lands. Hokum is a 2026 Irish horror film about a bitter, alcoholic author named Ohm who travels to an old hotel to scatter his parents' ashes. The hotel has a sealed room on the top floor, a honeymoon suite locked for decades because of a witch who lives inside it. The locals warn him, the staff warns him, and he doesn't really care. His Ohm doesn't believe in anything except whiskey and his own misery, because he ends up doing something that you can't really undo, if you get what I mean. But someone does save him, so that's
Oh my
good. But the
gosh,
problem is that the witch is real. She doesn't just hunt, she feeds. What she feeds on is guilt, and Ohm has more of it than anyone she's ever met, because when he was a kid, he accidentally shot his own mother with his father's gun, and he's been carrying that weight his entire adult life, drowning it in alcohol, refusing to look at it, and now he's walked into a room with something that can smell it on him like blood in the water. The visions start. His dead mother appears. A children's TV character from the day of the accident twists into something demonic. The witch doesn't need to chase him. His own guilt is tearing him apart from the inside, and she just has to wait. The survival advice is hard to say, but I have to save it. You have to forgive yourself. You have to not fake it, not perform it. You have to actually mean it. If you kill your own
I'm
mother,
not gonna
you
lie.
gotta forgive yourself, man. Or don't
That's just
kill your own mother.
that's just something I would never fucking do. But I'm not gonna lie, there will 100% be something that would be out there that I would quote unquote be holding on to and just not give a fuck. So I feel like I could deadass survive this movie. What?
You know, don't do that. That's probably not a good idea. It's that I don't know if you're invited to the group hangout if you do that. If I'm being honest with you, I'd be a little sussed out. All right, guys, it's time to talk about Markiplier. I'm not going to even pretend that I'm not scared of this movie. Iron Lung is a 2026 sci-fi horror film set in a universe where something called the Quiet Rapture made every star and every habitable planet vanish overnight. What's left of humanity lives on space stations, rationing air, rationing hope, and sending convicts on suicide missions to gather resources. The main character is Markiplier, and he's one of those convicts, a guy named Simon Markiplier, who gets sealed inside a submarine that's basically an iron coffin and dropped into an ocean of blood on a distant moon.
Hold on, Markiplier made himself the main character in his own fucking movie. That's so funny.
He can't really see outside because there's no real windows. There's like one at the front, but it breaks really early on in the movie. There's just a camera bolted to the hull and a screen where he can look at photos of whatever the camera caught. His job is to take pictures of the bottom and try not to die long enough to send them back. He's the 13th person they've sent down there. The first 12 are still down there too, merged together into something massive and aware that's been waiting for the next one. It can mimic their voices. It calls for help using the words of people who don't even exist anymore. So that's fun. My survival advice here is almost nothing. I need to be honest about that. Keep talking to the surface so you have an anchored reality. Build little habits in your head to fight back when it tries to get inside. And if you see a light in the deep, something the monster seems afraid of, maybe go towards it. That's all I have. Simon doesn't escape. He makes a choice at the end of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it. That might mean something for whoever's left, but it's not a victory. It's just the only move he really has. Some horror isn't about survival. It's about what you do when
should I spoil it? I'm not gonna do it.
Survival stops being an option. All right, let's move on. Look, I've watched this next horror movie like 30 times, and I keep looking for the moment. The decision that would have saved them. The thing they did wrong that if they'd done it differently would have let them walk out. And I cannot find it. The Blair Witch Project came out in 1999. The same year I was born, so you could say I am the Blair Witch Project. You all refer to me as Mr. Blair Witch now. And it follows 3 film students who go into the Black Hills Forest in Maryland to make a documentary about a local legend. They have cameras, a map, and decent outdoor skills. They interview locals who tell them not to go, and they go anyway. They get lost on day 2. The forest starts looping, they walk south all day and end up back where they started. They find weird stick figures hanging from trees, piles of rocks outside their tent, and sounds at night that don't match anything living. One of them disappears. The other 2 hear his voice calling from the woods, and they follow it to an abandoned house where something is waiting. But they don't come out. What breaks me up with this one is that they didn't do anything stupid. Like, once they were in the shitty situation, they followed the river like you're supposed to. They stuck together as long as they could. They didn't poke the supernatural out of curiosity. The supernatural came for them anyway. The forest wasn't playing by rules that they could learn. The witch just decided that they weren't leaving. My survival advice is the first honest thing I've said in this whole video. Don't go. That's it. Don't go in the spooky forest. And if you do go, there is no advice. There is no clever trick, no preparation that matters, and no second chance. That's the difference between horror movies you can survive and actual horror. Actual horror doesn't give you the chance. It just takes you. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to give it a like.
W fucking video, man.